Hari Om. Can you all hear me? Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyangkaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was just quickly looking into where we left last 3 months ago, approximately 3 months ago. In fact, this accident happened on a Sunday late afternoon. After the satsang, I went and messed with my hand. We had, finished the subtle body. But before I can get into the Ishavasya book itself, Bunny, bega bunny. We as teachers, when we congregate here and volunteer our time as Balavihar teachers, or whether it is front desk or the books or various roles and responsibilities, why are we doing all this? Some might say, empty nesters, Swamiji, this is the best way to utilize our time. Because the most of you who are sitting here, that is one common factor that I see here. It's an opportunity to give the next generation to learn and continue this knowledge, wisdom, tradition. So you are focused on finding your firm footing, and now that you are comfortable at it, you want to spend the resources, energies into something which you believe in. Fair enough? Okay. So it's a platform for learn, grow and serve. Learn, then you're growing and thereby serving. Haji. Couldn't have said it better. This is a happy place and feel comfortable, and learning never stops. Dhobi Ghat. There are different analogies that people take. You have taken Dhobi Ghat. to come here, find a cleaning environment, clean and then go back. Some people say that they come here to recharge and recharge for the rest of the week, come back on Sunday, again recharge. I said that is why we have aptly named this place as socket, that you can plug in and recharge yourself. See, all this effort to reach out to the next generations and direct our intense energies, resources, so that they can get that which we treasure, that they can also start benefiting from it. If that which we are delivering, that which we are trying to give, is being given in with a mindset, or to a mindset, not with a mindset, to a mindset, where to find a commonness that they can identify with, find a sense of pride in it, a sense of dignity in it, is when they will try to not just listen to it, but practice, but not only practice, but also carry it forward. So one of the things that Puja Gurudev used to say is, catch them young, sow these seeds young, so that in that young fertile mind there is a possibility of their own identity being wobbly. Once that identity is fixed, the rest of it, once the dignity of identity is there, rest of it becomes a helping agency. What will happen when that dignity is on a shaky grounds? When that identity itself is on shaky grounds? Why is it on a shaky grounds is the next question. When the identity itself is on shaky grounds, though they may not be able to articulate it, the reactions that come forth are visible in trying to distance themselves away from such practices or environments. I was in, I was in travel and I was at somebody was hosting me, and it was quite a wintry session, and we had been cooked up in that house. So I said, let's go for a walk. I'm not crazy. It was like sub-zero, I think it was Minneapolis or something. So the host said, no Swamiji, we usually go out for a walk in the mall during winters. It's 3.5 miles from down to up and then back down. It is 3.5 miles. It takes us about 1 hour, a good walk. Let's go. And we are not the only ones. There are others also walking. So the family, they're a family of 4, 2 children, parents and me. These kids, they were in middle school. Most of the times, most of the times as soon as we got into the mall, they were either ahead of us or way behind us. And I quickly assessed that they are trying to avoid walk along with. Why? Probably there is a lot of the crowd which they already know, and walking with this weird fellow who is wearing this orange color, and they will ask lot of questions. Who was that weird looking fellow? And they have to answer, and they didn't want to identify with. At home they are fine. So mockingly I said, guys, if you don't walk with me, you are scared what they will say. You should be more scared as to what I will say right now. I'll start calling your names and identify you with these colors that you are wearing, and catch everybody's attention and make sure that you walk next to me. Which one do you want? Then once they were there with me, then I had to talk with them. But the point is, when that very dignity of theirs or identity is on a questionable, wobbly platform, they would want to distance away. And we see that amply in when you want to take them to temples, when you want to take them to the pujas, when you want to bring them to such environments. What is the kind of resistance that, or the क्या राग अलापते हैं वो लोग? It's boring. I don't want to be there. It's not interesting. That's a telltale sign. That's one of the ways. And for the environment's sake, for Balavihara, oh, they are teaching the same thing. It is not interesting. It is not interactive. It is not this. It is not that. And we as teachers group gather together, break our heads, and try to see how to make it more interesting so that it can be enticing. It can pull them into it. I think what has to be addressed, more importantly, is to create the sense of pride in that identity. Once that set of identity is clear and they find that sense of pride in it, then you need not guide them. You need not force them. They will not feel the pressure of being in that environment. They would love to be here. Oh, my day was made when I stepped after the satsang. I was there, and the kid right opposite, first grader I think, he comes and unabashedly says, Swamiji, where were you? Missed you and I love you. And he just jumped for a hug. And I was like trying to field him with one hand and hold him. He was tiny, so I could take that. That where it starts that they love to identify what is it that happens in 4-5 years down the lane that they don't want to identify anymore with. The various factors that go in. One of the factors is what is being represented in their school environments about that which they are identifying with, that is being challenged, if not attacked. Supposing you are a fan of a particular team. So being in Dallas for these many years, how many of you are Mavs fan? So how many of you miss Dirk Nowitzki? How many of you went to see that statue of his unveiled? उतना मिस नहीं करते फिर. Miss, but not that much. So supposing that team, it was revealed that there is something scandalous that all the players were engaging in, or their habits or their lifestyle, or they did something wrong. What would you want to do? Though you like being a part of that, the moment you hear such things, you would want to distance yourself away from it. So then what does the PR do? The PR, public relations, because if the fan following is not there, fan base is shifted, their market becomes very low. They cannot survive. So they invest, they pump in a lot of money into PR resurrection. They try to rebuild it and get across, and there is a huge effort, network done, so that their worth is re-established, so that people can associate and find their pride in it. When that pride itself is attacked and they do not know that it is being attacked, the best thing that they see is to recluse themselves as far away as possible. I am sure you have seen them find it difficult when they were young to pack Indian food in their lunches. यहाँ के बच्चे इतने भोले भाले हैं कि खाना को फेंकेंगे भी नहीं. They'll bring that box back but would not have even opened it. Have you seen such experiences? उतने भोले वाले नहीं है फिर. Exchange, then it is even better, but it is so much, so people tease them, people mock them for the smells and other things, that ew, and if one starts, everybody starts, and they don't want to even open their boxes, lunch boxes. Right? Once that is hit, they don't want to touch it anymore. So when they go into an environment where that which they are associating with as Hindu Sanatana Dharma, how is it being presented in 6th through 9th grade? Various platforms, they get an exposure, world religion, comparative religion, world history. Constantly what is being portrayed about Hindus that they feel is being attacked on their identity. And once that attack happens and they don't have solutions, what would they want to do? If that is the case, then I don't want to associate with such, and run as far away as possible. On the flip side, all that which is grand and glorious about our Sanatana Dharma or in our Sanatana Dharma is misappropriated. How many of you have been to California to experience some new wave called golden latte? Have you heard of it? Golden latte is turmeric mixed milk. I am not making it up. अरे हमारी अम्मा मिला के देती है, हम लोग नहीं पीना है, नहीं पीना है. Golden latte. Turmeric was, they were trying to patent it in this country. Basmati was being patented right here in A&M in Texas. That's why in Kroger's and wherever else you will find there is a brand, or they call it Texas Mati or Texmati. Thank you. It's Apabhramsha of Basmati, because they could not patent Basmati. Their particular thing that they released, they call it now as Texmati. It's not just what we use. Yoga has been misappropriated. Instead of being the practitioners, knowing very well about it, putting that effort, we go to places wherein we are okay now to call it as downward dog position. Kukutasana has become downward dog position. Yoga is needed, pranayama is needed, various other techniques are needed, but it has got nothing to do with Hinduism. It is not Hindu. But what attacks that Hindu identity? Time and again, time and again, time and again, it has been portrayed. The various strategical steps or layers. One such step is Aryan invasion / immigration theory, AIT. Aryan invasion theory. These are the ones that brought in all the grains, dals, pulses, horses, dogs and other, because it was a very paganistic, they didn't have their own identity, including Sanskritam, it was brought in by the Aryans. Whereas in the Vedic literature, it clearly talks about Rudram. Have you heard? So in Rudram, there are two parts. One is Rudri, the other is Rudra Prashna and Chamaka Prashna. So in Rudra Prashna, there are several places where Ashvebhyo Shvapatibhyascha namo namaha. There is the horse rider, and a cavalry that is described. All the grains and legumes are also mentioned. Tila aschame, masha aschame, mudga aschame, khalva aschame, godhuma aschame, masura aschame. Godhuma, do you understand what is godhuma? Wheat. मसूरा, जो तुअर दाल बोलते हैं ना हम लोग, अरहर की दाल, मसूराश्चमे, मसूर दाल, that is from that only. None of these belong to, they all were brought in from. And what happened to those who were living there prior to this? Oh, they were dark skinned and they were pushed down south. These were fairer skinned. A further extension of that, therefore in North India, all the gods and deities are in white color, marble. Down south it is all dark color, it is granite. in our own Balavihar, there was a parent that was saying, "Oh, but sari and dhoti are South Indian, Swami ji. वो North Indian नहीं है." So I had an amusement moment. I said, "Dude, see any Krishna Bhagwan, any Radha Devi, any Gopika, Yashoda, Rama, सीता देवी, और पतलून पहन के चल रहे थे क्या? Were they wearing pants and pajamas? What do you see them in? You see them in not just a lungi, it was a dhoti, which is panchakacha, wherein it goes through there and they put it in, and angavastra, and women were wearing saris. So the Aryan invasion or Aryan immigration theory has been proven so many times in the last 20 years, whether it is at a genetic level, whether it is at various levels that it has been, whether it is at a language level, whether it is at a practice of day-to-day customs, that it cannot have been something that which somebody from outside brought in. It is indigenous to the land, Bharat. Now, somebody took it so seriously that we have two parties fighting with the same ideologies in entire Tamil Nadu. DMK and AIDMK. Dravida Munnetra Karagam. Did I pronounce it right? Okay. Okay, Tamilian लोगों से पूछ के लेना पड़ता है pronunciation. It is not Tamil, it is Tamiz. Tamil. ZH, right? That it is a separate, we don't belong to. That is one. Second, even if it was yours and you are practicing it, you have nothing but paganistic, low life practices. There is patriarchy, there is women oppression, there is cow worship, cow piss dinkers, caste system. And the most ridiculous thing is the caste system was brought in by the Portuguese, implemented by the French and the British in creating that hierarchy, and now the onus is on us to say that we have to grow out of caste system, which was introduced or superimposed on our society by the European Christian invaders. How many of you have heard of Ahalyabai Holkar? थोड़ा जाके रिसर्च करो. Ahalyabai Holkar. She was the queen of Indore, and she has done so much outdoor of Indore. The Dvadasha Jyotirlingas, which were destroyed by the Muslim invaders, she meticulously went ahead, got all of them reconstructed. So to honor her in the recent Kashi belt, her statue has been placed, Ahalyabai Holkar. Jhansi Lakshmibai, the first of the women rulers, is mentioned in the Chola dynasty in the 2nd century. The next mention of it is in the Maurya. After Chandragupta Maurya, there was one who, in the Nanda Vamsha before Maurya, there is mention of 3 generations maintained by women queens. Now, the reason I mention women queen is, it is not that it was ever oppressed, women were oppressed, they were also the rulers and decision makers. While in parallel, they would be witch hunting and putting them on stakes and burning them alive in entire Europe. I am not just talking about that which happened in the Newfoundland, America. And we are told that the women oppression is high in India. Patriarchy, the caste system, the cow worship. The entire Hindu structure has been brought down to only those practices. When this is being constantly staked at into the face of these children, it's a psychological, क्या कहते हैं उसको, emotional अत्याचार. And it starts at 5th, 6th grade. They're still in middle school. So we as teachers, our responsibility, along with teaching what we are teaching, if we can focus, if we can hone in to build that pride, to build that dignity in being and practicing what we carry forward as our religion, tradition, custom, practices, without which taking it forward will become difficult for them. Am I getting across? And the only way that we can build that pride is when we carry that pride ourselves, and that pride can come in only, if and only, if we have amazing depth of clarity with regards to our own history, culture, tradition. And that is what has to be transmitted to that next generation. Data and data points, putting it across through the syllabus, through the 12 years of syllabus or 14 years of syllabus that we have, is a moot job if that identity itself is at stake, if that is at a questionable, cornered environment. Am I getting across? So the onus is quite large on us, on our shoulders, to make sure that we are not just talking about our religion and our practices, our value system and how to make it a day-to-day, but it has to be in the sown-in environment of deep, unshakable identity. If that identity is, see, many of us who have grown up in India, we ourselves, when we step out, find it difficult to put a bindi on our forehead, to wear our own clothes. Right? No, this is not appropriate for that environment, therefore we change. The child is observing all of that. They may not be able to grasp, articulate and corner us with questions, but they are observing. That which my mom and dad are asking me to practice, they themselves do not find it good enough to practice, and what my school is teaching confirms that. So the onus is a lot on us. On a funny side, completely on a different tangent, then there are those people who come and tell me, I have heard it several times, Swamiji, when you go out, why do you have to risk yourself wearing these clothes when you are in public, other than the mission environment? You know how the Christians, they wear normal clothes and they just put a little white thing in the collar. उसका भी कुछ नाम है ना. You know, the fathers, brothers and cardinals, they wear something on their, Google करके देखो मिल जाएगा. So you should also wear such, so that you don't need to feel awkward. I don't feel awkward. You feel awkward walking next to me. So when we can instill that pride and dignity of carrying ourselves. So one of the requests in Balavihar was that please come in Indian attire. Because it starts from there. What I dress and how I address. Because that is the first sign of identity. Then I can instill into those children saying, look, this is what we believe in, therefore you also. But that consistency, because you are still a minority in this majority, consistency with which we have to maintain that identity is up to us. The more intensely that we are maintaining it, we can transfer it to the next generation. At first signs of it, we get rid of our identity. It gets that much diluted for the next generation. And more so when we are teachers. Why? Yadyadacharati sreshtaha tattadeva itarajanaha sayat pramanam kurute lokaha tad anuvartate. Which chapter? We are learning that chapter right now. This particular shloka we have just learnt in the assembly. Hint, hint. It is in 3rd chapter. Yadyada acharati sreshtaha. The one who is in the lead role. Inadvertently, those who are following imbibe that and start following. So remember that as a teacher, as a practitioner, our main job is to instill that identity, instill the pride in that identity, and to carry it forward in a dignified manner, with dignity. If that identity is not given, whatever else we pour, it will only be data which will never enter into the heart and take deep roots. So I very strongly request that you become a strong practitioner of what you are trying to teach. You will see the impact of it for the next generation. Am I getting across? Strange, isn't it, that people, when they come to this building, I have to remind them that there is a temple, please go visit that temple, do namaskar there, and then come into this hall. I have to tell that, insist that again and again and again. It's like you all go to Tirupati, stand in the line, get the laddu and come back, and not visit the main deity. How awkward, how absurd does it sound? Right? So let us raise that, and the moment we answer to that identity and instill that, the rest of it becomes a freeway. They will argue, there will be participation, they will challenge you, but it would be for the sake of clarity, but not to remove the very system. And to inspire that is our job. One of the key important things as teachers, because this year I may not be able to give teachers training, so I thought before touching the Ishavasya Upanishad, let me first go to the baseline, and from there again touch base with Ishavasya Upanishad, and that way the baseline is clear, the bottom line is clear. I'll stop here. I know I'm stopping 15 minutes ahead of time. I'm still experimenting, coming back and teaching. I need to go relax my shoulders so that I can do next 1.5 hours. Next week I am not here because I am conducting a chick camp, my last chick camp in US, so that I can hand over the responsibility during that to the next generation of leadership. So that stepping down will happen in that. So 10th, 11th, 12th, I am in that camp. If you know of anybody who is 18 to 28, including your own children, please inform them and ask them to join. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.